Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share a message that will challenge, inspire, and transform the way you see life. We live in a world filled with noise, voices pulling us in different directions, opinions shaping our identity, and distractions stealing our focus. But if you want to walk in purpose and live with divine clarity, you must learn to trust in God, focus on yourself, and let silence speak. These three principles are not just ideas. They are the foundation for an unshakable life. Let's explore 8 key lessons that will empower you to live boldly and effectively in your divine assignment. Trust is not easy, especially when life doesn't make sense, but faith is built in the unknown. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not on our own understanding. There will be times when you feel lost, when doors close, when people walk away. But let me tell you, God sees what you cannot see. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events in your favor. Think about Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, yet he was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. But in the end, he became the second most powerful man in Egypt. Why? Because he trusted God even in suffering. When life pushes you to your knees, that's the best place to pray. Trust that God is working all things for your good, even when it doesn't feel like it. Too many people live for the opinions of others. But let me ask you, who has the final say over your life? Is it man or is it God? Jesus himself was rejected by the very people he came to save. If he wasn't accepted by everyone, why do you expect to be? The need for validation is a trap. It keeps you from stepping into your purpose. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you start walking in true freedom. Stop explaining yourself to those who don't believe in you. When God calls you, he doesn't need a committee's approval. A tree doesn't compete with the tree next to it. It simply grows. Yet many of us spend our lives comparing ourselves to others. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. Stop watching what everyone else is doing. Focus on your journey, your assignment, and your progress. Look at athletes. A sprinter doesn't turn their head to check on the competition because distraction slows them down. Instead, they stay focused on the finish line. That's how you must run your race. Not everything requires your reaction. Some battles are won in silence. Jesus stood before his accusers, and instead of arguing, he remained silent. Why? Because the truth does not need to prove itself. Silence confuses the enemy. It protects your peace. It gives you wisdom. Some people are not worth your words. Your actions will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Instead of wasting energy on defending yourself, let your success be your answer. Growth is the loudest revenge. If the enemy can't destroy you, he will distract you. He will use unnecessary drama, pointless arguments, and temporary pleasures to keep you from your calling. Ask yourself, does this add to my purpose, or does it pull me away from it? Nehemiah was rebuilding the wall, and his enemies tried to distract him. But he responded, I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:03. Stay focused. Guard your time. If it doesn't serve your future, it doesn't deserve your attention. Some of you are in a season of hardship, and you're asking, why me? But I want you to shift your perspective. Instead of saying, why me? Say, what is this teaching me? Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined by fire. Every great person has been tested. Your struggles are not breaking you, they are making you stronger. Before David became a king, he was a shepherd. Before Moses led a nation, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. Your pain is preparation. Embrace it, learn from it, grow through it. Not everyone deserves access to you. Some people drain you, distract you, and discourage you. Learn to set boundaries. Jesus loved everyone, but he did not give everyone equal access. He had the crowds, the 12 disciples, and then the 3 in his inner circle. Be wise about who you let close. Your peace is your power. Don't let toxic people rent space in your mind for free. Choose your battles wisely. The enemy loves to remind you of your past, but let me tell you something. Your history does not define your destiny. God can use your mistakes. He can rewrite your story. What's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. When Peter denied Jesus, he thought he was finished, but God still used him to build his church. If Peter had allowed his failure to define him, we wouldn't have one of the greatest apostles of all time. Your past is a chapter, not the whole book. Let it go and walk boldly into the future God has prepared for you. Walk in purpose, walk in power. My friends, it's time to rise. It's time to trust God, focus on your growth, and let silence be your strength. Life is too short to waste on distractions, people-pleasing, and unnecessary battles. Be bold. Be focused. Be unstoppable. God has called you to greatness. Walk in it. The world is watching, not for what you say, but for what you do. Now go and live with purpose. The best is yet to come. Would you like me to refine any part, add more examples, or adjust the style further? Trusting God is easy when everything is going well. When prayers are answered, doors are opening, and life is unfolding the way we envisioned, trust comes naturally. But what happens when things don't make sense? What do you do when the doors you were sure would open remain shut? When relationships fall apart, when opportunities vanish, or when life takes an unexpected turn? Faith is not tested in times of clarity. It is tested in the unknown. Proverbs 3:5-6 instructs us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This means that even when life seems unfair, confusing, or painful, God is still in control. Trusting him means believing that he has a greater plan, even when you cannot see it. Joseph's life is a powerful example of this. As a young man, he had dreams of greatness. He saw visions of himself in a position of power, ruling over others. But instead of rising immediately to prominence, he was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused of a crime, and thrown into prison. Years passed, and it must have seemed as though his dreams were nothing more than illusions. But what Joseph did not know was that God was positioning him for something greater. If Joseph had not been sold into slavery, he would have never gone to Egypt. If he had never gone to Egypt, he would have never worked in Potiphar's house. If he had never worked in Potiphar's house, he would have never been falsely accused and imprisoned. If he had never been imprisoned, he would have never met Pharaoh's cupbearer. And if he had never been introduced to Pharaoh, he would have never been introduced to Pharaoh, who would elevate him to the second most powerful position in Egypt. What seemed like setbacks were actually setups. What seemed like betrayals were actually divine redirections. Every painful moment was a necessary step toward fulfilling the promise God had placed on Joseph's life. Trusting God means believing that the trials you are facing today are preparing you for the blessings of tomorrow. It means surrendering control and understanding that even when life feels like it is falling apart, God is still working behind the scenes. You may not see the full picture yet, but he does. Look at Abraham, who was promised to be the father of many nations, yet waited decades for the birth of Isaac. Look at Moses, who led the Israelites through the wilderness without knowing when they would reach the promised land. Look at Job, who lost everything and still chose to trust in God's faithfulness. There will be moments when your faith is tested, when everything in you wants to question if God has forgotten you. But God does not abandon his people. When you trust him, you position yourself to receive blessings far greater than anything you could achieve on your own. Many people live their lives enslaved to the opinions of others. They measure their worth by how they are perceived, constantly seeking validation, constantly adjusting themselves to fit into expectations that were never meant for them. But if you are always chasing approval, you will never fulfill your divine purpose. Jesus himself was rejected by the very people he came to save. The Pharisees opposed him, the crowds turned against him, and even his own disciples doubted him. Yet he did not alter his mission to gain approval. He remained steadfast, focused on his purpose rather than the opinions of men. If the Son of God was misunderstood and criticized, what makes you think you will be exempt? There will always be people who question your choices, who doubt your potential, who refuse to acknowledge your growth. Some people will never see your value, no matter how much you try to prove yourself to them, and that is okay. The need for validation is a trap. It keeps you small, causes you to compromise, and makes you dependent on the shifting opinions of others. When you live for the approval of people, you hand them control over your life. But when you live for God's approval, you walk in freedom. There is a story of an old man, a boy, and a donkey. As they traveled through different villages, people criticized them no matter what they did. When the old man rode the donkey while the boy walked, people said, "How cruel! The man should let the boy ride." When the boy rode and the old man walked, people said, "How disrespectful! The boy should let the old man ride." When both rode, people said, "How selfish! The poor donkey is overburdened." When neither rode, people said, "How foolish! What's the point of having a donkey if you don't use it?" No matter what they did, someone had something to say. The same is true in life. If you're waiting for universal approval, you will never move forward. You must learn to walk boldly in your purpose, whether people approve or not. Consider a fruit-bearing tree. It does not struggle to prove its worth. It does not beg people to notice its fruit. It simply grows, and in time, those who are meant to benefit from it will come. In the same way, you do not need to convince people of your value. Focus on growing, developing, and walking in your purpose. The right people will recognize what God has placed inside you. The moment you stop seeking approval is the moment you start walking in true freedom. The world will always have opinions, but opinions do not define you. God does. The voices of critics do not determine your worth. God does. The rejection of others does not cancel your purpose. God's calling is still upon your life. When David faced Goliath, his own brothers doubted him. When Noah built the ark, people mocked him. When Jesus performed miracles, the religious leaders accused him. Do not let fear of criticism keep you from doing what you are called to do. If God has given you an assignment, do not look to the left or the right, wondering who approves. Move forward with confidence, knowing that you answer to God, not man. One of the greatest distractions in life is comparison. Many people measure their progress by looking at what others are doing instead of focusing on their own growth. The danger of this mindset is that it leads to unnecessary stress, jealousy, and discouragement. When you spend too much time watching others, you lose sight of your own journey. A tree does not compete with the tree next to it. It simply grows. It does not look at another tree and say, "You are growing faster than me," or "Your branches are wider than mine." It just continues to stretch toward the sky, taking in the sunlight and using its resources to grow at its own pace. Yet many people fail to follow this simple principle. They become obsessed with watching others, feeling insecure when they see someone else succeed and feeling pressured to match someone else's timeline. Competition can be healthy in some aspects of life, but when it turns into comparison, it becomes toxic. The problem with comparison is that it often makes people feel either superior or inferior, neither of which are productive mindsets. If you feel superior, you may become prideful and complacent. If you feel inferior, you may become discouraged and stop pushing yourself toward your potential. Athletes understand this principle well. A sprinter does not turn their head to check on the competition while running a race, because doing so would slow them down. If they look to the left or right, they lose momentum. Instead, they keep their eyes on the finish line, focusing on their own performance. This is the attitude you must adopt in life. Your only competition should be the person you were yesterday. The danger of social media is that it constantly presents people with curated versions of other people's lives. You see their success, their highlights, and their victories, but you don't see their struggles, sacrifices, and setbacks. This can create the illusion that everyone else is advancing while you are standing still. But what you see is not the full picture. Everyone has a different timeline, a different process, and a different season. Your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. David was anointed to be king as a young boy, but he did not immediately take the throne. Instead, he spent years tending sheep, fighting battles, and enduring hardships. If he had compared himself to King Saul, he might have questioned his own calling. But David understood that his journey was his own. He did not rush the process, and he did not allow comparison to distract him. Focus on growth, not on competing with others. If someone is ahead of you, celebrate them. Their success does not take anything away from you. If someone is behind you, help them. True greatness is not about being better than others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Growth is a process, and each person moves at their own pace. A bamboo tree stays underground for years before it suddenly grows several feet in a short period. Some people see success early, while others take longer to develop. What matters is that you are improving daily. Progress is still progress, no matter how slow it seems. When you stop looking at what everyone else is doing, you can finally focus on your own path. Every second spent worrying about someone else's journey is a second lost on your own. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep moving forward. Not every situation requires a reaction. Some battles are best fought in silence. Many people waste their energy arguing, explaining themselves, or defending their actions to those who will never understand them. But there is great power in silence. Jesus understood this principle well. When he stood before his accusers, they hurled false accusations at him, expecting him to fight back. But instead of engaging in endless arguments, he remained silent. Why? Because truth does not need to prove itself. Silence is often more powerful than words. It confuses those who expect a reaction, frustrates those who seek to provoke, and protects your peace. When someone insults you, silence robs them of the satisfaction of seeing you upset. When someone spreads rumors about you, silence prevents you from getting entangled in unnecessary drama. There is an old saying, a lion does not turn around when a small dog barks. This means that a person who knows their worth does not waste time responding to every criticism. If you know who you are, you do not need to prove yourself to everyone. People who constantly explain themselves to others often do so because they seek validation. But the moment you stop justifying your every move is the moment you start living freely. You do not need to convince people of your intentions. Your actions will speak for you. Consider a person who has achieved great success. When they were starting out, people doubted them. They may have been criticized, mocked, or underestimated. But instead of arguing with their critics, they focused on their work. In time, their results spoke louder than any words could. Success became their response. Some people argue not because they seek understanding, but because they want to drain your energy. They want to pull you into endless debates that lead nowhere. Engaging with such people is a waste of time. The best response is silence. In the book of Nehemiah, when Nehemiah was rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, his enemies tried to distract him. They sent messages calling him to come down and argue with them. But Nehemiah responded, I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:03. He understood that engaging with his enemies would only slow him down. He chose silence and continued his work. Silence also allows you to observe. When you are silent, you can see things more clearly. You can discern people's true intentions. You can listen and gain wisdom. Many people speak too quickly and later regret their words, but those who master the art of silence rarely find themselves in such situations. In a world full of noise, silence is a rare and powerful weapon. It allows you to stay in control of your emotions, choose your battles wisely, and protect your inner peace. The most successful people do not waste time proving themselves. They let their results do the talking. When you choose silence over unnecessary arguments, you conserve your energy for what truly matters. Not every fight is worth fighting, and not every opinion deserves your response. Let your success be your answer. Let your growth speak louder than your words. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. One of the most effective strategies of the enemy is distraction. If he cannot destroy you, he will divert your attention. He will not always use obvious obstacles. Instead, he will use subtle things that seem harmless but slowly pull you away from your purpose. Many people do not fail because of a lack of talent, intelligence, or opportunity. They fail because they allow distractions to consume their time, energy, and focus. Distractions come in many forms. Sometimes they appear as people, those who constantly demand your attention but add no value to your life. Other times they take the form of unnecessary arguments, toxic relationships, or meaningless pursuits that keep you busy but unproductive. Even excessive entertainment, social media, and procrastination can become distractions that keep you from fulfilling your assignment. Nehemiah understood the danger of distractions. While rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, his enemies tried to stop him. They sent messages hoping to lure him into a debate. But Nehemiah responded, "I am doing a great work and I cannot come down." Nehemiah 6:03. He refused to waste time on anything that did not align with his mission. Many people fail to achieve greatness not because they lack ability, but because they allow distractions to slow them down. Every great achievement requires intense focus. Athletes preparing for competition isolate themselves from anything that could interfere with their training. Successful entrepreneurs and leaders cut out unnecessary activities so they can devote themselves fully to their goals. Focus is what separates those who succeed from those who remain stuck in mediocrity. There is a story of a lion tamer who keeps lions under control in a cage with nothing but a small stool. The reason this works is that when the lion sees 4 legs of the stool at once, it becomes confused. Instead of attacking, it loses focus and becomes paralyzed. Many people live like that lion, so overwhelmed by distractions that they never move forward. Instead of focusing on one clear goal, they are pulled in different directions, making no meaningful progress. Distractions do not always appear as obstacles. Sometimes they come disguised as opportunities. Not every open door is from God. Some opportunities look good but are not aligned with your destiny. If an opportunity pulls you away from your true purpose, it is not a blessing, it is a distraction. Social media is a major distraction in today's world. People spend hours scrolling through other people's lives, comparing themselves, and engaging in pointless debates. Every moment wasted on distractions is a moment that could have been used to grow, build, and move forward. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and once it is gone, it cannot be recovered. Distractions also come in the form of negative emotions. Worry, fear, and doubt can consume your mind and prevent you from taking action. Some people are so afraid of failure that they spend their entire lives preparing but never executing. Others waste time being bitter about the past, holding grudges, or overanalyzing every decision. These are distractions designed to keep you stagnant. One of the best ways to eliminate distractions is to set clear priorities. When you know what truly matters, it becomes easier to say no to what does not. If something does not align with your purpose, it is not worth your time. Discipline yourself to focus on your goals. Surround yourself with people who push you forward, and guard your mind against anything that slows you down. Nothing great is built in an environment of constant distractions. The most successful people in the world are not necessarily the smartest or most talented. They are simply the ones who have learned how to focus. Decide today to cut out the distractions, stay committed to your purpose, and refuse to be pulled away by things that do not serve your destiny. Pain is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. Many people see suffering as a sign that something is wrong, but in reality, pain is often a sign that something is being built. Every great person has a story of struggle, hardship, and adversity. The process of becoming who you are meant to be will involve challenges, setbacks, and discomfort. The key is understanding that pain is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to prepare you. Gold is refined in fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Muscles grow by being torn and rebuilt. Every valuable thing in life goes through a process of breaking before it reaches its full potential. The same is true for people. Growth does not happen in comfort. Strength is developed through struggle. Wisdom is gained through experience. The trials you face are not punishments. They are preparation for what is coming. David was anointed as king when he was a boy, but he did not take the throne immediately. Before he ruled, he spent years running from King Saul, hiding in caves, and enduring betrayal. This season of pain was not a mistake. It was preparation. He taught him leadership, humility, and dependence on God. Without that process, he would not have been ready to be king. Joseph went through years of suffering before he reached his destiny. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. But each hardship was a step toward his purpose. If Joseph had not been in prison, he would not have met the cupbearer. If he had not met the cupbearer, he would not have been introduced to Pharaoh. If he had not been introduced to Pharaoh, he would not have become the second most powerful man in Egypt. His pain positioned him for promotion. Pain also reveals who you truly are. It exposes weaknesses, refines your character, and forces you to grow. When everything is easy, it is tempting to become complacent. But when you go through difficulty, you learn resilience, patience, and persevere. Some of the greatest lessons in life come from the hardest seasons. Many people waste their pain by complaining, feeling sorry for themselves, or becoming bitter. But pain is not meant to be wasted. It is meant to be used. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Every struggle carries a lesson. Every hardship builds something in you. There is a story about a butterfly struggling to break free from its cocoon. A man saw the butterfly struggle and decided to help by cutting the cocoon open. But when the butterfly emerged, it was weak and unable to fly. What the man did not realize was that the struggle of breaking through the cocoon was necessary for the butterfly's wings to develop strength. By removing the struggle, he robbed the butterfly of its ability to fly. The same is true in life. If everything came easily, you would never develop the strength needed to sustain success. Many people want blessings but are not prepared for the responsibility that comes with them. Pain is what builds the character necessary to handle greatness. No one enjoys suffering, but those who understand its purpose come out stronger. Instead of running from difficulty, embrace it as part of the process. The struggles you face today are shaping you for the opportunities of tomorrow. Trust that nothing is wasted. Every hardship has a purpose. Every trial is preparation. When you go through pain with the right perspective, you will come out not only stronger, but wiser, better, and ready for the destiny that awaits you. Energy is one of the most valuable resources you have. It determines how much you can accomplish, how you handle challenges, and how you interact with others. Many people do not fail because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they waste their energy on things that do not matter. Time can be recovered, but wasted energy drains your spirit, mind, and body. Protecting your energy means being intentional about where you invest your focus, emotions, and strength. There are people who leave you feeling drained after every conversation. They bring negativity, gossip, and unnecessary drama into your life. If you are not careful, you will spend your time fixing their problems, defending yourself from their accusations, or constantly trying to please them. Some people are not meant to be part of your journey. Keeping the wrong company will weaken your spirit and rob you of peace. It is not a lack of love to walk away from those who disrupt your purpose. It is wisdom. The story of Jesus and his ministry provides a lesson on protecting energy. Jesus healed many, taught multitudes, and performed miracles. But he did not allow every person into his inner circle. He had 12 disciples, but among them only 3, Peter, James, and John. Witness certain moments, such as the Transfiguration. When Jesus raised Jairus' daughter from the dead, he told most people to leave the room before performing the miracle. Why? Because not everyone carries the right spirit. Doubt, negativity, and distractions can interfere with what God is doing in your life. Emotional energy is just as important as physical energy. Constantly replaying past mistakes, engaging in unnecessary arguments, or holding on to resentment will deplete you. Forgiveness is not just about the other person. It is about freeing yourself from emotional burdens. Carrying bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. The world is full of noise, distractions, and demands. People rush from one task to another, rarely taking a moment to breathe, reflect, or recharge. Jesus often withdrew from crowds to pray in solitude. He understood that even the strongest need moments of quiet to reconnect with God and refuel spiritually. If Jesus needed solitude, how much more do we? Social media and modern technology have made it easier than ever to be mentally exhausted. The constant comparison, endless notifications, and overwhelming information overload drain energy. Many people wake up and immediately check their phones, flooding their minds with news, messages, and distractions before they have even spoken to God. Protecting your peace means being selective about what you allow into your mind. What you consume affects your thoughts, emotions, and outlook on life. Your environment matters. The places you go, the conversations you engage in, and the habits you build all influence your energy. Just as a plant thrives in the right conditions, you will thrive when you cultivate an atmosphere of peace, growth, and purpose. Surround yourself with people who inspire, uplift, and challenge you to become better. Be intentional about creating a space, both physically and mentally, that promotes clarity, focus, and inner peace. Not everything deserves a response. Some arguments are not worth your time. Some battles are not yours to fight. Learning to walk away is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign of wisdom. Your energy is precious. Spend it on things that align with your purpose and contribute to your growth. Peace is a choice, and protecting it is an act of self-respect. The ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest indicators of success. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they seek immediate rewards rather than long-term growth. Success requires patience, discipline, and the ability to endure discomfort for a greater outcome. Those who master delayed gratification achieve things that others only dream about. A classic psychological study known as the marshmallow. They told the children they could either eat it immediately or wait for a few minutes and receive a second marshmallow as a reward. Some children ate the marshmallow right away, while others resisted the temptation. Years later, the researchers followed up with these children and found that those who had waited tended to be more successful in academics, careers, and personal lives. This study proves that patience and self-control are powerful predictors of long-term achievement. Great athletes understand the principle of delayed gratification. A champion does not train based on how they feel in the moment. They wake up early, endure pain, and make sacrifices while others take shortcuts. The discipline of today determines the victories of tomorrow. In contrast, those who prioritize comfort over preparation will always be unprepared when opportunities arise. Financial success is another area where delayed gratification is essential. Many people spend impulsively, chasing instant pleasure rather than investing for the future. Those who build wealth understand the importance of saving, budgeting, and making sacrifices in the present to secure financial freedom later. The difference between those who struggle financially and those who thrive is often not intelligence but discipline. In spiritual growth, the same principle applies. Many people seek quick fixes, instant answers, and easy paths. But true spiritual maturity comes from consistent prayer, studying God's word, and trusting his timing. Abraham was promised to be the father of nations, yet he waited decades before Isaac was born. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before leading the Israelites to freedom. Even Jesus waited until the right time to begin his ministry. Every great work requires patience and preparation. There's a reason why farmers plant seeds and wait months for the harvest. If they become impatient and dig up the soil too soon, they ruin the process. Many people sabotage their own growth because they want instant results. They start a project but abandon it when they do not see immediate success. They enter a relationship but quit when challenges arise. They begin a journey but give up at the first sign of struggle. Those who lack patience never experience the fullness of what they could become. Every person who has achieved greatness has a story of persistence. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before KFC became successful. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity before building an empire. These individuals did not let failure stop them because they understood that success is a process, not an event. Discipline is the bridge between goals and reality. Many people dream of success but lack the patience to endure the process. They want the reward without the work, the promotion without the preparation, the victory without the battle. But those who truly achieve their dreams are the ones who can sacrifice temporary comfort for lasting fulfillment. Mastering delayed gratification is not about suffering, it is about strategy. It is about choosing what matters most over what feels good in the moment. It is about seeing the bigger picture and understanding that what you build over time will always be more valuable than what you obtain instantly. The difference between mediocrity and greatness is the willingness to wait, work, and endure. Patience is not a weakness, it is a weapon. Those who learn to control their impulses, trust the process, and stay committed despite difficulties will always rise above those who seek shortcuts. The future belongs to those who understand that real success is not given. It is earned through perseverance, sacrifice, and the ability to wait for what is truly worth having. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people equate it with weakness or passivity, but in reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools a person can wield. It is a shield against unnecessary conflicts, a weapon against negativity, and a discipline that brings clarity. The ability to remain silent when necessary is a sign of strength, wisdom, and maturity. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, silence sets you apart. Many people rush to defend themselves at the slightest criticism, wasting energy trying to prove their worth. But true confidence does not need validation. It does not need to respond to every insult, accusation, or misunderstanding. Some battles are won not by speaking, but by refusing to engage. Jesus demonstrated the power of silence during his trial. When he was falsely accused before Pilate, he did not argue or defend himself. He understood that his purpose was greater than proving his innocence to people who had already made up their minds. His silence was not a sign of defeat. It was a display of power. His enemies were expecting a reaction, and when he gave them none, he left them powerless. Silence is also a strategy in dealing with opposition. When Nehemiah was rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem, his enemies mocked him, trying to provoke him into an argument. Instead of responding to their insults, he stayed focused on his work. He refused to be distracted by their negativity. This is a lesson for anyone pursuing a goal. Not everyone deserves a response. Some people only want to see you lose focus. Responding to every critic wastes time and energy that could be used to build something greater. The ability to remain silent is especially valuable in moments of anger. Words spoken in anger often cause irreversible damage. Many relationships, careers, and reputations have been destroyed by words that should have never been spoken. Silence gives you time to think, process, and respond with wisdom rather than emotion. It allows you to maintain control over situations that could easily spiral into unnecessary conflict. There's an old saying, a lion does not turn around when a small dog barks. This means that great people do not waste time engaging with those who are beneath their purpose. Arguments with people who do not understand your vision will only drain you. When you know who you are and what you are called to do, you do not need to respond to every voice that questions you. Silence also gives room for observation. Many people reveal their true intentions not by what they say, but by what they do. When you remain silent, you gain a clearer understanding of people's character. You notice things that would have been missed if you had been too busy talking. Silence allows you to listen, not just to words, but to actions, patterns, and behaviors. In negotiations, silence is a tool that shifts power. Those who speak too much often give away their position, while those who remain silent gain control. The ability to sit in silence, to wait without rushing to fill the space, makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to reveal more than they intended. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence, strength, and control. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Some truths do not need to be spoken. Time will reveal them. Some battles do not need to be fought. Silence will win them. Those who master the art of silence move strategically, protect their peace, and remain unshaken in the face of adversity. Reputation is what people think of you. Character is who you truly are. Many people spend their lives trying to build a good reputation, but reputation can be manipulated, destroyed, or misunderstood. Character, however, is what remains when no one is watching. It is the foundation of real success, influence, and legacy. There are people who appear successful in public but live in private failure. They have carefully crafted an image that does not match their true character. They focus on impressing others rather than developing integrity. But reputation is fragile. It can be built over years and destroyed in a single moment. Character, on the other hand, cannot be taken away because it is rooted in the core of who you are. Joseph's story is an example of the power of character. When he was sold into slavery and later imprisoned for a crime he did not commit, His reputation was destroyed. People saw him as a slave, a prisoner, and an outcast. But his character remained intact. He remained faithful, honest, and diligent. In the end, his character was what elevated him to a position of great influence in Egypt. If he had been focused on defending his reputation rather than maintaining his character, he would have missed his destiny. Character is tested in private long before it is revealed in public. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack integrity. They rise quickly but fall just as fast because their foundation was weak. It is easy to act with integrity when people are watching. The real test is what you do when no one will ever know. Leadership is built on character. People may follow someone because of their reputation, but they remain loyal because of their character. A leader who lacks integrity will eventually lose the trust of those they lead. Success without character is dangerous because it is unsustainable. There are countless stories of talented individuals who reach the top only to lose everything because they lack discipline, honesty, or accountability. There is a reason why gold is tested in fire. The process removes impurities and proves its authenticity. The same is true for character. Difficult seasons reveal who a person truly is. Hardships expose the difference between those who only appear strong and those who are truly strong. Many people want the rewards of success without the process of refining, but without strong character, any success achieved will be short-lived. Reputation is controlled by others, but character is within your control. No one can take away your honesty, discipline, and integrity. People may spread lies about you, misunderstand your intentions, or attack your reputation, but they cannot change who you truly are. This is why it is important to focus on being the right person rather than simply looking like the right person. Character also determines how you handle power. Many people dream of influence, wealth, and success, but without strong character, these things can destroy them. Power in the hands of a person without integrity is dangerous. Money amplifies who you already are. If you lack self-control, it will lead to destruction. If you are greedy, it will expose your selfishness. But if you have a strong character, power and success will only expand your ability to do good. The most respected people in history were not known for their reputation alone, but for their character. They stood for something, lived by principles, and remained true to their values even when it was difficult. They did not chase public approval. They built private discipline. In the end, reputation may open doors, but character determines whether you can stay in the room. Character takes years to build, but only moments to destroy. It requires daily discipline, self-reflection, and commitment to doing what is right, even when no one is watching. Those who value character above reputation will build something lasting, something that cannot be shaken by rumors, accusations, or changing opinions. The true measure of a person is not what the world says about them, but who they are when no one is looking